Welcome to Sensational Living with Liliana. Today I'm going to do a favorite of mine, and these are buns. But the beautiful thing about these buns, they are keto, so anybody who is on a keto adaptive or keto program, they can actually have a burger with a bun. And most of my patients, that's probably the first thing that they say to me is, oh my gosh, I cannot give up bread. So we're always looking for a swap out. Nature hates void, so whatever I ask a patient to abstain from for specific reasons, whether it's weight loss, whether it's diabetes, whether it's to treat other ailments, I've always got to give them a swap out so that we don't go into a mindset of deprivation. So today we're going to do a really low carb bun. And so again, almond flour is going to be literally a third of the carbohydrates that a regular gluten-free or regular flour. The beautiful thing about almond flour is that it's got a lot of protein in it. So honestly, these buns are a perfect food. They're going to be 10 grams of protein and 5 grams of carbohydrates. So you really can't beat that at all. So even if you wanted to have avocado toast, you'd still be getting an adequate amount of protein, fats, and carbs. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start out with psyllium husk. Now, psyllium husk is a very expansive fiber. Literally, it expands, I'd say probably about at least 6 times its normal size. So we're not going to use any yeast, so this is going to make it really nice so that not only it holds the bread together in a very firm manner, but it's also going to be what actually makes the bread rise. So I'm going to go ahead and dump that in. So I've got 5 tablespoons of psyllium husk. Now, psyllium husk you can get pretty much at any health food store. I buy the Now brand. I like it a lot. And now I'm just going to use a very fine almond flour. Now I've got 1 1/4 cup of almond flour. So I'm going to go ahead and dump that in. Now this is going to make about 4 buns. So honestly, if you're like my family that goes through them quite a bit, I would probably double up this recipe. Now we're also going to add 2 teaspoons of baking powder, not soda. And so we're just going to go ahead and dump that in as well. So we're going to just add all the dry ingredients together. Just make sure you got every little bit in there because this is what's going to help make it rise as well. And then a teaspoon of unprocessed salt. This is one of my favorite salts, is called real salt, or I like Celtic salt, even the Himalayan rock salt, because it'll actually offer you the natural sodium that you need to support your adrenal glands. So I love it. So I'm just going to put a teaspoon of salt in here as well. So I'm just again adding all of my dry ingredients in here. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and add a bunch of herbs. Now you can be really playful with this depending on what you like. So I'm going to add rosemary. Now this is a little, more of a chunky rosemary, so I'm going to break it up a little bit with my hand. So I'm going to add about a tablespoon of this in here. And so as you can see, it's pretty kind of coarse, so I'm going to just take with my fingers and I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of fine it out a little bit more. Okay. Now I'm also going to add some dried onions. Now you can add shallots, you can add garlic, whatever you like. So again, probably about another tablespoon of that. So again, nothing needs to be precise and perfect. It's going to come out wonderful regardless. I like to add some sesame seeds in there. So again, I'm going to put about another, let's say, tablespoon of that in there. Lots of fiber. So I'm going to save these, everything but the bagel, for the very end, and also this little onion powder also just as a beautiful little topping. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a whirl. Now again, if you don't have a KitchenAid, you don't need one, you can just go ahead and I'm going to need to actually plug this in. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. There we go. Don't let it go crazy on you because all your flour will come out. Okay, so all we're trying to do is just mix it up a little bit just so that you're not getting any clumps of anything. Okay, so that looks pretty good. So now what we're going to do is add 3 egg whites. Now you're probably wondering what I'm going to do with the egg yellows. Well, this is great to make some mayonnaise, or if you want to do a hollandaise sauce. So either one of those sauces go great in a keto adaptive lifestyle. So I've already got these couple of the egg whites here, so I'm just going to go ahead. Now for some of you who've never done this, it's really pretty easy. You can just break the egg and then just, kind of take it back and forth and just get as much of the egg white out of there, and then just save this over here. Now again, you can use these egg yellows for mayonnaise, for hollandaise sauce, and I love even making a lemon pudding that I can make with them as well. So don't throw them away. They can be very useful. So I'm going to go ahead and add 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar. And so this will just give it a little acidity to support it rising a little bit. I mixed it in with the egg whites. Just give it a little stir there. I'm going to go ahead and pour that in now. Now, meanwhile, you can already have your hot water boiling. Now, it doesn't need to go in boiling, but we want it nice and warm so that it expands the psyllium husk quite rapidly. Now, when I put this in there, you're going to probably think to yourself, oh my gosh, I just ruined my ingredients because it looks so watery. But don't fret and don't try to overmix it, and you'll see how nice and it comes out very fluffy. So I'm going to go ahead. As you can see here, it looks kind of like it's already come together. You might think, oh, this looks great. I could knead it really easily now. But so I can just show you here, it's kind of almost like like a masa almost. But so this is why I said just don't get scared when you put the water in and it gets very watery. So I'm going to go ahead and I've added the egg whites. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the water. So again, don't overmix it. You're going to want to because you're going to say, oh gosh, it looks so watery. But what we're going to do is we're going to let it sit for a moment. So after you see that the water is all fully mixed in there, I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. Okay, let's see, where's my little thing here? There we go. Can I just use this? So again, I'm just going to mix it up a little bit here just to kind of let it cool down a little bit before I take my hands in there. I'm going to go ahead and undo that there. Okay, now you can just take a regular little spoon and just kind of mix it together and fold it. Again, it's already blended in nicely with the water. But again, you might be looking at it going, oh my goodness, how am I actually going to make buns out of this? It looks so squishy, kind of like when you were trying to make a paste for a piñata, a little bit thicker than that. So, but you'll see how beautiful these come out. So there we go. So I'm going to show you here. So as you can see here, if I take my hand and I just kind of bring it together in a little ball here, and it's still quite warm. And so honestly, we don't need to wait till it cools down. We just want to just make sure that it's sticking nicely together. So again, if I were to take this in a little ball form and cool it down a bit, it's going to hold together better, but we don't need to do that. So I'm going to just set this to the side here, and then you want to take your cookie sheet, and let's just put a little bit of parchment on there, and I'm just going to move these over here just a bit. Take this over. We won't need that anymore. Okay. So I just used some avocado spray just to go ahead and put the parchment paper down. And then I'm going to put just a very, very light spray right over the pan. Now you don't want to do too much because we're not trying to get too much of a crisp, but you want a nice little crisp on the bottom of this bun. Okay, so this is how simple this is. You can't go wrong with this. And honestly, 5 carbohydrates for a bun. Any hamburger bun, as you well know, the word total carbohydrates means total sugar. One bun is 45 carbohydrates. So obviously, you know, bread is something that my patients would love to keep in their diet. So as I said, nature hates a void, so this is just a fabulous swap out for that. And you can just see I'm just shaping it with my hands, and this should make 4 buns for you. And unless you want them really big, and it'll probably make only 3, but I guarantee you the beautiful thing about these buns is they're just loaded with fiber, so you get full really quickly, and the nice thing about it, it lasts with you for hours, like maybe even 3.5 to 4 hours, so you can become very, very satiated. So now I've just got these little buns, and I'm just going to shape them a little bit more. Okay, so again, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're not looking for perfection. I'm going to flatten them out just a teeny bit. Okay, now I like to put in a couple of different toppings on top. So I'm going to use some sesame. Well, no, I'm not really going to use the sesame seeds on this one because I've already added in. I'm going to use everything but the bagel on 2 of them. And then I'm going to use a really nice onion salt on the other one. So you can play with it and experiment and do it to your family's taste and liking. But a variety is always really nice. Okay, now look how easy that is. It took me less than 10 minutes to put this together. Now the thing about these buns, they're kind of living buns, so you don't want to leave them outside because they will spoil quite quickly. quickly. So keeping them in the refrigerator is probably a really good idea. So I'm going to go ahead and put them in the oven at 350 degrees, put them on the middle rack, and then we're going to show you what these lovely buns are going to look like. Now look at that. So again, it's beautiful and it really makes for a great burger, a sandwich, a turkey sandwich, whatever you'd like to have that's to your liking. But again, what I would recommend, because they are nice and firm, right, is that I would take a knife and I would just cut it down the middle so that when you go to eat these, the psyllium husk can get a little bit spongy when you keep them in the refrigerator, but they'll toast up just beautifully. And oftentimes when I'm actually eating them the same day that I'm making them, I might also just go ahead and add a little, I might go ahead and just cut them and toast them as well. So let me just show you what the center will look like. So again, they're super easy. Look at that, how firm and gorgeous they are. So you can't go wrong. So you can see the center is just a teeny bit spongy, not terribly. I mean, I could just totally enjoy it like this, but if I want to just give it that little extra touch, I would just stick these under the broiler for just about a minute, and then I would put my burger on there, and I would be ready to rock and roll. So there you have it. It's fantastic. You can't go wrong with this. 10 grams of protein, 5 grams of carbohydrates, and enjoy these buns and have a great day.